Coach Malone.
Johnson had a great game. What was he doing so well? Did something happen in the previous game to keep him from playing?
Well, he didn't play the previous game. He had issues with rules, and so we were happy to have him back in the lineup. And when he didn't play, we took him, of course, on the trip, and he was on the sidelines. But he was a guy who was into the game, helping out guys, even though he wasn't going to play. So when he had an opportunity, when he served his punishment and had an opportunity to get back onto the playing field, we were excited about his enthusiasm. We were excited about his week of preparation, and what he did in the game. It showed for how he had practiced. So we just hope that his maturity and his leadership continues, as we move forward through the rest of the season.
David did such a good job on Garrett, but their other receiver, Josh Atkinson, didn't have a catch until the fourth quarter, and by that time you'd already lost Forrest Richardson. How did you keep him in check? Was it more of a scheme thing or an individual performance on the opposite side of the field?
Well, one of the things that they'd done throughout the season is that they'd had a lot of big plays to Kier's. So that was our focus, is that we wanted to take away what they did really well, and that was him. That was Kier's. And we said that, yes, they do have other receivers, and they'll probably catch some balls, but it won't be like what they've done with him. And our cornerbacks, the other guys on the opposite side, away from Kier's, they kind of took that as a challenge, and they did some things when the scheme kind of left them hanging out there a little bit because we were doubling Kier's. They did some things really well, which also took away, the opposite side receiver. Now, our front also did a really good job of pressuring the quarterback because he couldn't go through his reads the way that he'd been comfortable doing, because when you evaluate those guys, when you scout those guys, not a lot of people had tried to pressure him, and actually he was really good versus pressure, but we challenged our front that, okay, we're going to pressure him. And so they came through. They did good things when we decided to pressure him in spots, and we tried to change up, keep them off balance as to when we would pressure. We pressured on first downs at times, which we don't do a whole lot, but we chose to pressure them on first downs, and they when you watch them, they like to toss the ball down the field to Kier's on first down where most people were not bringing pressure. So our front did a really good job in helping with the coverage of those two guys.
You lose two important guys. How do you replace them?
Well, you always hear it. Somebody else has to step up, and that's kind of what happened. As we roll through the game, it happens really fast, and you throw a guy out there before you realize it, and even before he realizes what is happening, and most of the times they come through. So with more practice, we'll just have a plan for getting more guys reps and moving and shifting some guys around to be able to play and hope that we don't have any more injuries.
One of the guys that got some reps after Kyron Mitchell went out was R.C. Cox. Once you looked at the film, what did you think of his performance?
Well, R.C., like I said, just being called into action without a lot of discussion, we thought he played well. We thought that, of course, R.C. always practices well, but he'd been battling with a few injuries the last few weeks himself, which kind of prohibited him from getting as many reps as we would have liked for him to get. So and then he has to be forced into action, and he's been a good player for us. He's been a guy who's been conscientious, has paid attention in all the meetings. So we're excited about what he can bring. Of course, we never want to lose a player, definitely not a player like Kyron Mitchell. But the next guy in all of these cases, the next guy just has to step up and and go out there and do the same things that Kyron has done.
Someone might look at 40 points and say it's just another top performance for the defensive struggle. But you guys look like you made a lot more plays last game than a lot of the other ones. When you look at the film and after a couple good weeks of defensive practice, are you starting to see some of what made practice really good be applied in the game?
Well, honestly, in today's football, you can't look at that score and you can't look at yards. You have to look at the score, of course, but you look at the number of points that you give up per possession, and you try to get your guys to really, we're fighting to not give up big plays, to not make mistakes, to be sound, to tackle well in space, because those are the issues that have plagued us throughout the season. And for the last 2 weeks, we've done a much better job of that. For the last 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, 2 games ago, we had 11 tackles for loss, and in this game, you had 8 tackles for loss. So we are pushing them back. And what we have to continue to do, like Coach Morris has talked about, is to create turnovers to give our offense additional opportunities to score. And I mean, they're going to score some points. Offenses today, they're going to score some points. We're not in a place yet where we can just shut them out, but we're moving there, and our guys are continually getting better. And at this point, we have to acknowledge their improvement, and we have to keep encouraging them, keep pushing them to take away those negative things.
A couple of red zone situations last week. Tulsa brought in more mobile with their 2 quarterbacks, but the defense looked ready for it, dropped a loss or short game. Was there an adjustment that you made for that type of look that maybe you don't like this week against P.J. Walker?
Well, the quarterback that Tulsa brought in is a guy he'd thrown 3 passes. So it's a pretty easy adjustment that we're going to play the run in that situation. Well, PJ is not necessarily a runner. Even in the red zone, he's not necessarily a runner. They have capable backs for him to hand that ball off to for Temple. So you still have to be conscious of the pass with him, because they get into the red zone and they've shown empty formations. They've gotten into the red zone and they've shown big people. They've shown you all kinds of different formations and personnel groupings, but he is not the runner that President, the guy from last week, is. So you can't just totally key in on the run like we could with him, and take a chance that, he's thrown 3 passes. If he throws a pass here, we're going to go with the odds. Well, PJ is a little different from that.